Fantasy Football Universe, how's it going again? I am SC Romero, joined by one of my co-hosts here in Jeremy Strowman, FF Rebel, I think. I know we're having some special guests on here today. I think Rebel's here joining me. We'll find out here. Oh, look at this.
Marty, how are you doing? The space-time continuum in fantasy football, it comes together. And 21.21 gigawatts of power ready to explode all over fantasy football week 8. I don't have a good Doc Brown voice, but I have a terrible wig as well. So we're ready to go. How you doing?
Doing good. As I mentioned, we have a special guest. As you see, I mean, we have scientists in here, so you know we're bringing all the chemistry that you need to know to start your right lineups here today in our Start Sit show. So don't forget to ask us your questions as we progress. We're here to give you all the answers you need to dominate this week. Outside of injury, we can't predict all that as well. But yeah, I mean, how's it going there? How's it going?
Yeah, it's I can't tell you how it's going, but when this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're going to see some serious shit, SC, and it starts with whatever happens at 1 p.m. today. I don't know what's happening, but yes.
Hopefully we don't need to go back in time and blast to the past, back to the future. Hopefully we go back to the future where like these teams just elevate and we're like, oh, these are the good weeks for them.
I will say this: Back to the Future, we got DeAndre Hopkins relevant, we got Javonte Adams relevant, we got Amari Cooper relevant. We're back at least 5 years in the future, but we could go back 30 years into the future, and we'll see. We'll see what happens and who's on the road to the championship. But I will tell you that roads, where we're going, we don't need roads this year. It's all about fantasy football and Back to the Future. I'm bad at this, but we're gonna roll with it anyway. Let's go.
There you go. No, it's great, man. 'Tis the season, right? Everyone, happy Halloween. This is our Start Shit Halloween episode. And actually, hold on, someone's at my door. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, go get him. While you answer the door, we're going to answer some of your fantasy football questions real quick. So please put them in the chat and let us know how you're feeling about your week 8 start sit matchups. We will go through rankings here in a bit. We'll hit you with some inactives as well. And just to make sure that you guys are all set for your lineups. But first, there's a knock on the door. I hear some grunting and groaning. I'm not sure what's happening over there. SC, are you with us?
SC is gone, and it is Batman season. Or should I say, give me 1 second. Let me change this hashtag real quick.
Oh yeah, I need to change that.
Like Batman season, it's actually Bateman season, baby. Let's go. Bateman's actually doing stuff really good right now, and he is the wide receiver that you want to start this week because he is going off with Lamar Jackson.
Great Scott. That's a ridiculous proclamation, but I love it. We love to see it here. Let's find out how bad these impersonations can be. One thing that's interesting, though, here really quickly is that Travis Etienne is inactive, so you need to make sure to take him out of your lineups. You need to elevate Tank Bigsby. SC, I wonder, and Jerry, hello. I wonder if Jerry means Tank Dell, or I assume Tank Bigsby here with Travis Etienne out. Who you rolling with there, Batman?
I think you gotta go Bigsby, man. When Travis Etienne is out, Bigsby goes out and he dominates. He's like the Cape Crusader himself, right? He goes out there, he does what he needs to do to make sure that no one is stopping his team, and he's doing everything right. Bigsby, there you go. He did say Bigsby there. So I say take Bigsby, man. Right now, you look at the matchups too. Let me pull it up. Washington against Chicago. They have a good front seven, right? But then you look at Travis Etienne. Where they at? Who's Etienne playing? That's a good question.
Jacksonville's playing someone pretty good, I think.
Yeah, their line was pretty easier, I do believe. One second.
Great Scott. Screen Bay. It's the pack.
There you go. Even better. So I like the matchup for Tank Bigsby more than I like it for Brian Robinson there. So I would definitely take that. Unless this can't be Bijan Robinson. This has to be Brian Robinson. So Tank Bigsby all day.
Brian Robinson. Great Scott. He's my running back 20 on the week. And who's the other guy? Tank Bigsby. I don't have him ranked that high, 28. So we need to make sure that we pump up Brian Robinson as much as possible and send him to the moon. We agree. It's Brian Robinson. These impersonations can get worse. So let's keep firing some questions out. But, we are expecting Jesse in as well. A few kind of quick points of note is Tyreek Hill is in. You're firing him up. You're playing him everywhere. I don't care about his injuries. I don't care about Tua's injuries. He's playing. He has the potential to be the RB1 wide receiver 1 on the week. So you fire him up for sure. I think it said T. Higgins is officially out. Did you see that one?
Yes, he is inactive for today.
Yeah, so T. Higgins out. So make sure that you also get T. Higgins out of your lineups and trade it out for somebody else. Here's another one. SC Batman, who you got? Otner Ingram for my tight end.
Again, Ingram. You know Ingram's being involved in that lineup there. And I know Jesse was saying he was very high on in this coming week, especially after losing their top pass catchers, right? But Evan Ingram against Green Bay, you know he gets the targets. You know Trevor Lawrence likes him. So I'm going Evan Ingram. He is my tight end 6 on the week.
Yes, and if we are looking into the future and cast a crystal ball, maybe Cade Otton is a better tight end than Evan Ingram long-term. But right now, I agree with you. It's Evan Ingram. He's my tight end 6, like you said in the week. Otton, my tight end 8. So it is pretty close. But I will go Ingram as well. Saucy Bo is here in time for my terrible impersonation of Doc Brown. This is supposed to be Doc Brown. Let's go ahead and kick it off. Got one flex. DJ Moore, Brian Thomas Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. T is out. Who do you got?
Oh, man. So in Gotham, we love Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's phenomenal. However, DJ Moore does have a spicy matchup against the Washington Commanders there. So I think in this one, you got to go DJ Moore over Brian Thomas Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. Man, if I'm going out of the juniors, I think I'm starting Brian over Marvin Harrison Jr. So Moore, Thomas, Marvin. That's how you should do it.
I am shocked, Batman, that you would start anyone over Brian Thomas Jr., but it's okay. It's okay. DJ Moore is the correct answer because he's my wide receiver 11. If my calculations are correct, he's my wide receiver 11 on the week. But of course, all of these other guys are top 20 guys, more or less. Brian Thomas Jr., 16. Marvin Harris Jr., 14. DJ Moore in a spicy matchup. Yes.
Check your lineups because DK is also doubtful to play. Alan Lazard, if you're starting him, hopefully you're not. He is out as well. They continue to go on. So just check out your lineups because you never know. You want to make sure you're ready to go.
Good call. Great call. Let's move on. James Conner or Javonte Williams at running back. Who do you got?
Let me check my rankings here. James Conner or Javonte. Javonte, it has to be. He's going against Carolina, arguably one of the worst defenses in the league right now. You got to start him up. He's looking great. He's firing on all cylinders. James Conner, I do have against Miami, just right behind Javonte there. But again, the matchup is juicy for Javonte. Looks like he is a workhorse back there. So I am going with Javonte Williams in this one.
Yes, the other great mystery of the universe, running backs. We don't know exactly how they're going to pan out, but I do have Javonte running back 10 on the week, Conner 17. Love James Conner, like the matchup. I think he's going to do well, but Javonte, ride the hot hand with Javonte. Please do it. Ride at 88 miles per hour all the way to a victory.
Agreed.
Elliott or Dalvin? Neither.
Oh yeah. Who are your other options here, Christopher? That is the real question. And to be honest, I don't want to say this, but this is also true. Sometimes it is worth having that empty spot because these guys could get negatives, and I've had it where it's like I should have just not started these guys. So just keep that in mind. Maybe this is the time where it's like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it empty because I don't know. I want to trust Dalvin Cook, but he hasn't shown it. He showed, a little loss of step last week. And Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, hopefully you have Rico Dowdle, and that's who you're really starting. But yeah, not these guys.
Negative calculations are no good for our fantasy lineups, so make sure you don't have those. That said, I'll go Dalvin over Zeke in a pinch, but agree with you. I don't want either. Christopher Plummer also says the team needs to be changed. Yes, just change them all out. We should send them back to the future, to the past, because when they come back to the future, hopefully they'll be a better team than when they left it, which is also unlikely. Look, sometimes we got to change the past, and we got to do drastic things. In terms of other inactives, SC, did you see anyone else come out? So we got T. Higgins inactive. We got Travis Etienne inactive. So we're firing up Tank, but not too high. Anyone else come in or out?
No one quite yet. No one that's gonna affect your lineups. Sneaky pick, I guess you could say, is Raheem Jarrett out in Tampa. He is healthy. He is expected to go out there and play. Again, deep lineups because you're not necessarily starting him out of the Tampa Bay wide receivers. We know that Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are out. Mike Evans probably for like 4 weeks, so definitely adjust. But, when it comes to the wide receivers, Jalen McMillan, we like him. Trey Palmer should get some work. Sterling Shepard there as well. Raheem Jarrett. Really, if they're on your waivers, go grab one because you never know who might be the one to step up.
Yep. Here's a few very, very deep options. Bucky Irving will play. Alan Lazard will not. So I think we're bumping up Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson even a bit more. Mm-hmm. Against a pretty decent New England secondary, but they're going to get crushed in that game. Let's see who else. We also have
Will Levis is also out. I don't know if you're starting Will Levis, but he is also out.
Mason Rudolph in deep leagues. You can fire him up. Zay Flowers late on the injury report. He is healthy. He is active. He will play. Maybe a slight downtick for him in terms of production. We shall see.
Someone just asked me via text message here. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. They asked, Higgins is out. Purcell, Judy, or Jacoby Myers. I think you gotta go Purcell.
Yeah. Jacoby was doubtful as well. I gotta see if he's playing. He might be the later game. I'm trying to think. So it's Pearsall, and who is the third one? The first one?
Judy or Myers.
You can't go Judy. You can't go Jerry Judy in the past, present, or future. He's been terrible in all of them. What you have to do is you have to make sure that you go with Ricky Pearsall. Big, sexy, pretty Ricky. Lock him in.
With Judy, hopefully we talk about Batman season. One guy that gets the locker room and, Gotham is behind him for sure is Jameis Winston. So his season is beginning. Go out there and get Jameis Winston because he likes to sling it. So maybe now we see a lot more of Jerry Judy. At least relevant.
We shall see. Yes, but like Marty's siblings, Jerry Judy is bound to disappear from the picture and completely become irrelevant if he doesn't produce very soon. I don't think that's happening. I have a question for you, Batman. In SFB, the Scott Fish Bowl, I am faced with the decision between Jaylen Warren going up against the New York Giants, or in the same game, Tyrone Tracy against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. SFB, so you have some return yards as well. Feels like leaning Tracy, but what do you think?
I think you have to go Tracy. You're hoping he gets the return yards there. Warren probably gets a little bit more opportunity because the Giants defense is horrendous when it comes to that. But if Tracy can get into that special teams, there it goes. With SFB, you shoot for the upside. There's no in between. You go all in or you're just not trying. So I think you go Tracy in that one.
Agree.
Do I start checking our lineups here as well? As you know, we got our own lineups where a lot of things are happening. People are in and out all the time. So we got to make sure we got things going on as well. For example, I got to make sure Dallas Carter goes on my IR. Same with Travis Etienne.
Interesting one in Atlanta. Justin Simmons is out with a hamstring. That could impact things in the back end of that secondary. Atlanta playing, I know they have an interesting matchup. Yes. Mm-hmm. Bo Nix was always going to be one of those guys that we were interested in as a fringe QB, high-end QB2 option, potentially getting there with his legs. They're not playing Denver, though. Atlanta is playing Tampa. So Baker Mayfield, interesting there. I think they're going to rely more on their backs, but you might be considering, I am considering moving Baker Mayfield up a couple of spots. Great spot to QB 18, which is not that good.
I know a lot of people are selling on Baker, but at the same time, they're probably gonna do more dump offs. So Rashid White, Bucky's questionable, I do believe. If they are playing though, those are guys you want to fire up as well. And as we know, Kate Ogden may get some of those targets. We need to see which wide receiver steps up. Jalen McMillan had 8 targets last week, so that was definitely promising. We know Sterling Shepard is a deep shot. Trey Palmer can really step in. He came in at the end of the season last year, so those are guys you will pay attention for. Fire up the running backs. You can fire up K. Dalton. Baker, I mean, you got to start him, right? He's still Baker. So then the wide receivers, though, if you need to, start them, but I think I'm waiting this year for it.
For me, it's K. Dalton for sure, but this is an interesting question from Jerry. Do you want McMillan or McMillan, I suppose, because McMillan. Is on Denver. McMillan or Dobbs? Who do you want to start in your flex spot?
I like McMillan because he's about to go out there and get some McMillions, and he needs to trademark that to go to McDonald's too. But McMillan, I think you go out against him there. I think Dobbs is great, right? Dobbs, juicy matchup as well, but I like McMillan. I think he's gonna fit in perfectly with that Chris Godwin type of role. I think he's going to go in there and be that type of wide receiver just eating out from the slot. So I think we're going to see a heavy target share for him. We saw him do it in Washington last year. We've been waiting for this opportunity for him, and let's go out there and have it ball in for him. Dobbs is the safe play, but if you want the high upside, McMillan is the guy to go.
I hear you, but I raise you the fact that Dobbs has 2 amazing weeks in a row, and they go against Jacksonville this week. Don't be afraid to play Dobbs. I'm going Dobbs over McMillan, but it is very, very close.
This one.
Let's see. Highest total this week. Who do we think, Batman? What game is a shootout this week?
I think, looking at the matchups, I think the highest total this week is going to be, and we want to say the Cardinals, Dolphins, but I think it's going to be the Texans and Colts. I think that's going to be something that we're going to see some fireworks. Hopefully, I mean, if A. Rich does his, deep throws and hits the target, sure, that's probably the reason why you don't think that. But I think both secondaries are vulnerable at this point in time. So I think there is opportunity to have the highest total points there with the Colts at Houston.
I agree with that, but I'm going to stay in the great state of New York and say that the Buffalo Bills Seattle Seahawks game goes nuclear. There's a nuclear reaction in Buffalo this weekend, and it's going to be Geno Smith a little bit. Without DK, it's going to be Kenneth Walker a lot of it, and it's going to be everybody on Buffalo going nuts all over Seattle. Seattle will have to keep up, and I like some of those options. Tyler Lockett probably has a good game, but I think Kenneth Walker, maybe Zach Charbonnet is a desperation flex if you have injury. But yeah, all of those Bills, I'm firing them up this week.
I like it. Hopefully, Geno still buzz out. This is the JSN breakout that we've been waiting for, by the way. So
I got to come out of character for a second. Not that I really was in it, but I'm so disappointed in JSN. He was my biggest buy this offseason. Him and Mark Andrews were 2 of my biggest buys this offseason. Hasn't worked out to perfection just yet. I don't see JSN breaking out here. I think he needs DK to thrive. I'm really concerned about what we're not seeing from JSN so far. It's just disappointing. It's disappointing from JSN.
Fair. Here's Jason needs to do it. I mean, hopefully it's just his target share and he steps in. This would be a big game for Lockett. I think Lockett stretches the field there. Here's an interesting one. Tua or Bo Nix against Carolina.
Ooh, love Tua, love what he can do, but I'm going with Bo Nix. He is a consummate professional and a scientist back there. Tua has some brain injuries, and I prefer to side with the intellect of the young rook as opposed to the unfortunate non-intellect of Tua lacking a few brain cells there. Really bad. But yeah, I'm going to go Bo Nix rushing upside. How about you?
I'm starting Bo Nix. I think Carolina is the matchup. You got to play matchups sometimes, and Carolina is a very gross opponent when it comes to what they can do. So I think you got to go Bo Nix here. And Bo Nix has been balling. I think Bo Nix is doing really good. So Bo Nix all the way.
How about SC? How about your spiciest take of the week? Do you have anybody who's really high or really low in your rankings this week that you can think of relatively quickly?
Just looking at my rankings, just all around. Let's just look at the flex rankings. Who
Well,
do I have?
While you look at that, I will say I was super high on Sam Darnold this past weekend or this past Thursday night. He threw 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and then the refs got involved. It was terrible, and he only threw 2 touchdowns the whole rest of the game. It's disappointing. Great Scott. We failed. But you know what we didn't fail on? Oh, is he here? Did he join us?
I'm working on it.
We can hear him. What is this? What is this noise?
This noise appears.
Hey,
He's arrived.
he's made it. Great
He's
Scott.
confused. He's very confused. He doesn't know what's going on today.
Jesse.
How's it going? By the way,
How are you?
what can we talk about? What is your outfit? Because I saw the picture of it. I had no idea what it was.
Which one? This one?
Yours, yeah. What is your outfit?
121 gigawatts, Marty.
Oh,
Please
yes,
go 88
that
miles
was
per hour.
I love it.
In order to achieve light warp speed and time travel. No, the impression is terrible. The outfit is terrible. But hey,
It's
we
beautiful.
do what we can, Jesse. We do what we can.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. It's been an adventure of a day.
Well, let's move
I mean-
on. Your Batman voice freaks us out. That's the idea, right? I mean, that's the good thing.
There you
That's the good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Bat Dad.
I think you were asking my highest one. It's probably Cedric Tillman. I have him as wide receiver 23 this week against a tough matchup with with the Baltimore Ravens. But again, Jameis Winston is here. You fire him up all the time. Cedric Tillman had 12 targets. I said 18 last night, but it was 12 targets, 8 receptions. He is someone that's going to be there for him. So you want to go with Cedric Tillman in this matchup.
Jesse, please look up your spiciest ranking while we go to this next question, which is Chuba from Kenneth. Chuba or Wandale, full PPR. Batman, hit us off. Who do you like?
Oh, this is spicy. I think you got to go Wandale. I know the matchup's not favorable, but they're also going to dial in on Malik Neighbors. Chuba, I really just don't like this matchup against the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are coming together, and they have one of the best defenses in the league. This is not the week I want to start Chuba. I am hesitant. I know he's getting to work. Wandale, you know he's going to feed out from underneath, and this is going to be what they need to do to find some success for Daniel Jones, is having Wandale go underneath while Neighbors goes up front, and then you get those big plays. So Wandale over Chuba for me this week.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yep.
I love it.
I like it. I'm going to go Chuba. I'm going to go in the opposite direction. We need to think a little bit differently because Chuba is the only guy in Carolina right now who can do anything. Will he do anything? Maybe not. Will Wandale do anything? Probably not. I'm going Chuba. It's been tough for the Giants defense, especially absent Andrew, whatever you want, Thomas at left tackle since last week. So I'm going Chuba. Wouldn't fault you for going Wandale. Both of these guys, find somebody else.
Yeah.
Really
I think that's the way it is. If you're deciding between them, you're like, well, this is not going well for me.
Yeah, we agree. With Bryce back, it's gonna be awful for Chuba, unfortunately. But listen, go with your gut here. This is one of those tricky ones that really, really is just it could go either way. I just think Chuba gets a lot more work. We know Wandale has the targets. We like targets for points. Targets equal points equals MC squared. But yeah, I'm going Chuba.
If y'all want to know,
I'm sorry.
Jesse, are you dressed, Jesse, or are you dressed up, or are you just cold?
I'm a confused Halloween fan / sporting guy. He doesn't know what's going on because my outfit fell through. So I'm a very confused sporting fan. I'm at the wrong event, which makes sense because a lot of fantasy analysts don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So this just fits right in with them. So that's what I was thinking.
I honestly thought you were a Slytherin from Harry Potter.
That could work too. If I had the hat to go with it, I would have put it on. It would have been glorious.
As a scientist, I was thinking you might be a minion, but you were the wrong color, so I couldn't tell. You were green and not yellow. But if you were yellow, I definitely would have pegged you as a minion with the scarf. I think one of them wears the scarf. Do they?
Gru does. I could be. I could have been.
Oh,
there we go. Now we're cooking.
I will say, just so y'all know how bad we have it too, I am forced to start Jalen Coker in one of my leagues because I have players on IR. So just to know, we are in y'all's boat when it comes to these injuries and the disappointment. We are going all in though. Jalen Coker to the moon, baby. Let's go.
Unlikely. My calculations tell me that is the likelihood of that is improbable. But we shall see. We shall see if it happens or not. Quick question. So I asked earlier about Najee, but how are we feeling about? I asked earlier about Jalen, but how are we feeling about Najee Harris against the Giants? Is he going to be a top 15 running back this week?
Najee, I think I do have him as a top 15. Oh, I have him as a top 14 back at number 14. So one ahead there.
Yeah, Batman loves himself some Najee, so I understand it. I'm a little bit more concerned with Najee. As good as it is to listen to Batman, you should listen to Batman because you don't want to catch those hands from Batman. It's trouble.
True.
I worry just because the way they split the work, where Najee lost snaps out, he was not like getting the most snaps in that offense. The way it pays off for Najee is if this game gets out of hand. So if they get a big lead in the game, that's how Najee benefits his top 15 guy. I'm not 100% confident that's going to happen. I imagine both teams are going to struggle offensively. We saw Russell Wilson do it last week. I need to see it again against the depleted Jets defense. Like the Giants defense is not terrible. So it's possible he gets there. I think it's more than likely he's like a top 22-ish running back, which is where I have my rankings. He's sitting right in that range.
My question is, Alex Highsmith, is he playing this week? If so, I believe he played last week. If so, yes, he will play Sunday. Oh, that was last week. So he should be full this week. Alex Highsmith adding to what's happening with that pass rush. Again, we talked about the Giants missing their left tackle, J.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith getting home. I think the Giants do little to nothing this week.
Yes. Very possible.
Give me Najee.
Checking lineups as you go. Always. Like the Cape Crusader, you always want to make sure that throughout the season you are checking your lineups here.
Yes, well, you are a detective after all, and I'm a great scientist who invented the time machine. Let's fly back in time with me for a second and pretend Amari Cooper is a top 12 wide receiver. Oh, wait, week 8, he is my wide receiver 12 this week. Do you guys love Amari Cooper or just like him this week?
What year is it? What year is it? How far back have you taken us?
Great Scott.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah. Amari Cooper, we saw the involvement last week with Josh Allen, his new quarterback, which he finds, just romance. It's like, when or when Joker and Harley Quinn get together, right? It's just pure dominance. Chaos is happening. Cooper looks great, which actually leads us into this question. Romero, actually, shout out my wife here with this one. But should she start Cooper or Lamb? She isn't playing me, so the advice is great. Whatever y'all give to her, Cooper or Lamb this week.
Cooper or Lamb.
Lamb.
Sometimes the time conspires, the space-time continuum conspires to create the perfect question after our discussion of Amari Cooper. It's CeeDee Lamb. He's my wide receiver 6.
Yeah. As fun as Cooper is, I still want to see it because he's not been good this year. Like, he has not been the wide receiver he was in past years. Obviously, he did it in like a very limited sample size, 35% of routes, I think. So I think you could very much flex Cooper if you're playing between those two. I'm curious. I see we might need to ask your wife who they're flexing because maybe they put Cooper in there. But yeah, definitely play Lamb. Like, I know 49ers defense is vaunted, all that stuff. They're struggled. They're not as good. They're not creating the pressure rate. They're giving up yards to wide receivers. So like all around, it's a good matchup. So yeah, I would definitely play Lamb over Cooper. But I want to play both.
Yep. And Hufunga.
Flexing, just a question. So they have Cooper and Drake London as the starter right now, and they have Octane in the flex with Walker and Connor as their starting running backs.
I would actually. This might sound a little spicy. I'm gonna bench James Conner this week. That's the guy I'd be benching of those groups. The Dolphins defense has actually been very strong. Now it might be a little bit like because of how the issues they've had offensively. That's kind of tilted the way that those stats are working out. Like they're giving up almost no points to fantasy wide receivers. I think Cooper can have a decent game, but I prefer James Conner have a decent game, I prefer Cooper to James Conner personally.
And this came out 2 days ago. Talanoa Hufanga may not return at all this year. We saw Malik Mustafa flying around the field in San Francisco 49ers secondary. Will that continue? I don't know, but he's not as good of a cover guy back there. Things are happening on the 49ers defense that haven't happened since 1985. They're giving up yards on the ground. They're giving up yards through the air. It's not as good of a matchup, of a defense. They're not an elite defense anymore. So for me, I'm playing my Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not fading CeeDee Lamb at all. The only guy I might fade is Dak Prescott. Otherwise, I'm firing up CD. You fire up Ferguson. And I think if Dallas had a competent running back and you weren't afraid of, Dalvin Cook coming in and having 15 touches out of nowhere, you could also start Dowdle. I'm a little iffy on Dowdle this week because of that. But you fire up those pass catchers, the main guys.
Yeah, I like it.
Mobius, welcome in. Merry Football Day. Happy Halloween as well.
We love us a little football. Who's your toughest lineup decisions this week, guys? Who do you got?
So I was looking at my rankings. My spiciest ranking is I have Rachaad White as a top 15 running back. The more I've thought about this, and I do, trust me, I do not like Rachaad White. This is not me liking Rachaad White. Let me just phrase that. It's the offense needs pass catchers. You're going to be trailing this game. I know Tampa Bay is favored or was favored early in the week, and I don't understand why that was because they lost their two important wide receivers. This offense needs pieces. It's going to be K. Dotton, and it's going to be Rachaad White in the passing game. We already saw it last week. He had 6+ targets. He's going to be a focal point in the receiving game. So in PPR leagues, you should be firing up Rachaad White. And a game score that's still projected to be fairly high in this game. So, I think Rachaad White's going to be the focal point because Bucky's dealing with the injury. The other guys are kind of there, but it's just Rachaad White's the one guy that looks like he's going to be the lead back in that three-headed monster they have in Tampa Bay right now.
Here's one that might be spicy. Would you start Bub Memes or Jaleel McLaughlin in the flex?
Bub.
Don't do it.
You can't go Jaleel. Jaleel for what? For what? I mean,
no reason.
Just because the other option is Bub Means. That's why.
Well, I do worry a little bit about Bub Means because we get Chris Olave back this week, and Bub Means is what they say, kind of not a target earner. So I kind of want to see how this works out for Bub. I would still play him over Jalen McMillan because McMillan's the next to nothing all season, and he's not really doing anything. So I'd be fine playing Bub Means.
Was it McMillan or McLaughlin?
Sorry, McLaughlin.
McLaughlin,
yeah. The only thing is McLaughlin plays Carolina, and we know that Carolina is terrible. They're awful.
Yes.
So you could ride that lightning on your way to a victory. I'll go McLaughlin because
you're just like why not? I do wonder how much they even need McLaughlin in this game because it just seems like it's gonna be a Javonte Williams show. But entirely possible.
Agree with that. All right, we got two here. Let's start with Caleb Williams or Brock Purdy as my pencils fly all over the place. What do you got?
Caleb Williams. Again, Washington is atrocious when it comes to it. Jaden Daniels should be playing, so this could be a lights out, just fireworks type of matchup. But I'm firing Caleb Williams against Brock Purdy, who I believe Debo is playing. I think he's questionable, but I think he's trending towards playing. Ayuk is out, so we know that's going to hurt. CMC still out. Caleb Williams has his weapons. I'm going with Caleb Williams there.
Yeah, it's interesting with Purdy, because this game could get out of hand. We see the projected point spread and the difference in they're a heavy favorite in this game against the Cowboys. I don't know how much they need Brock Purdy, and that's what worries me in this matchup. Where Caleb Williams is going to give you a little bit more on the ground on top of it, but the Washington defense has kind of come together. They're a little bit better, so they're very close for my rankings. I'll say Purdy's a safer option. He's just been better. He's been a really good quarterback, and he's been scoring a lot, but it's just tough with him. So I have him, 2 spots above him? No, actually I have Caleb 3 spots above him. So I'm going Caleb. QB6, let's ride, baby. Let's
ride. Caleb 9, Purdy 10. Great Scott. Go for the upside. Caleb Williams. How about Chris Olave or Rachaad White? PPR.
I think I have Olave higher. 1 second. Let's go with Chris. Where is Chris Olave? Olave or who? Rashad?
White.
I go Olave. I know Rashad White got some good work last week, but Olave, he's gonna get featured in the targets. Rashad White still has to deal with Bucky Irvin. I do believe Bucky Irvin is playing. This is something if Bucky Irvin is, then yeah, go with Chris Olave because the targets are going his way.
Yeah, like it has not connected at all for Chris Olave this year. It just has not been good. He's coming back. Derek Carr. I don't know if they announced Derek Carr's playing. It says he's doubtful. I don't know. I'm assuming he's gonna play. We will see, because if it's Spett or Rattler, I'm just not going to do that whole experience. The Saints offense terrifies me right now, so I'm really trying to avoid it. As much as I like Olave, this might be being a little too bullish on Rashad White in this matchup, or it could backfire me. I'm going to go Rashad White over Chris Olave. I think what's interesting is that he's a safer option, and the floor is similar between two of those guys.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, with Spencer Rattler, who knows what's going to happen? Also, New Orleans is playing. Remind me, is it Atlanta?
Yes.
I just lost my page.
No, Chargers.
Yeah. So that's the really interesting thing about New Orleans against Atlanta is with Taysom Hill back and Rattler in, I expect this game to be a super slow pace of play. And I just think that bodes less interesting for the passing game and Chris Olave here. We know that J.K. Dobbins is going to get 88 targets and 88 carries in the rushing game and go for 88 yards. So it'll be super, super slow for them. So that's why I'm not super high on Olave. I prefer Rashad White in the volume that I think he'll see. Let's move on to another one here. Kyler Murray or Bo Nix. This one's tough. Great. Scott, Jesse, what do you got?
So this is what I meant by Miami. Like, they're giving nothing up in the receiving game, like, at all this year. But these are the game scripts they're in. I think Bo Nix is a guy we should be starting across the board this week. This is the dream matchup. I'm expecting him to go past the 30 yards rushing on this game because, like, he's a scrambling quarterback. That's what he's going to do. It's just if he can turn those into touchdowns. And Kyler's been so up and down. Like, you don't know which Kyler you're getting. He has he's like 2 good weeks. Every other week, he's been outside the top 16 in the quarterback position. Like, I have a bias to Kyler. I just think Kyler's a much better quarterback. So it's hard for me in this situation. But I'm looking at them. I have Kyler at quarterback 7, and I have Bo Nix at quarterback 10. So they're right there. I'm still going Kyler, but yeah, you could definitely do Bo Nix. I think this is actually a really good question. Where are you at, Mr. The doctor? Why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know. Where am I? 2025, 1985. Who knows? These boys would not have been born yet, but I am going to go with Bo Nix, my QB 13. I cannot see where Kyler Murray. I have Kyler Murray higher. Damn it. He's my QB 7. I'm going to go Kyler. I love Bo Nix. I think he's got the safer floor in this one. I think Kyler just gets it together, finds a little bit of a connection with MHJ. I really just think the reason that you can't pass on Miami or haven't been able to is because you didn't have to for the last month with Tua out. And so I just think those numbers are skewed because of that. We're going to see Tyreek absolutely go off against this Arizona defense. Jalen Waddle could be involved. The running backs are going to get home. I think everybody eats in Miami, which means that Arizona is going to have to keep up. And I think Kyler gets there on that garbage time.
I actually have Bo Nix ranked above him as well, just 3 spots at 12 and Kyler at 15 here. Again, what Jesse was saying, though, just the matchup is great for Bo Nix there versus Carolina there. It's going to be fantastic there for him.
You corrected. A good scientist always corrects his mistakes.
Hey, Carolina sounds better, Mobius. Carolina sounds better. They should change it to Carolina Panthers there. But Bo Nix is the guy there.
Thank you, Callahan. Thank you. Yes, another good addition for Mobius here. Is it me or is Kyler just underperforming? Do we think it's a Kyler issue? Do we think it's just a lull in production? Is he just not that good? What are we thinking about Kyler here in 2024?
Well, part of it is due to his wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. What they're having him do, they're having him run a lot of go routes. He's up in like 47%. He's their league leaders. And like if you look at 3 seconds on target, he's at like 12 yards down the field, which is not what you want to see from a superstar wide receiver. These are the guys that are deep. It's like Alec Pierce territory. Those guys where they're chucking it deep. It just doesn't like. I don't know what Petsing's doing in like Arizona. That's the hardest thing to figure out. So that's why you're seeing these very like boom bust games. And at certain points, Kyler's just having to make magic happen out of nothing. Just magic.
Yep.
There it is. There's a 30-yard play. Like he has to do that type of stuff because it's just not going well for them. So yeah, he's definitely struggled. It's not been the year we anticipated. They're probably the most disappointing team, like offensively, of all the teams of what we expected them to be and what they currently are.
Yeah, and what's really interesting in Arizona is James Conner still continues to produce despite that. It's very strange how he's able to put up, what is he? He's the RB12 on the season. He hasn't scored in 3 weeks, and yet he was the RB19, 35, and 15 over the last 3 weeks. I think James Conner, if he scores, he's automatically vaulted into that back-end RB1 discussion weekly. And if he doesn't, he's still a solid RB2 for you. So this is the kind of guy that you can lock in your RB2 slot and get steady production, despite the fact that Arizona's been disappointing.
Yeah, and the thing about Miami is no team's given up less. They're the only team in the NFL to give up less than 700 yards receiving to wide receivers. They've only given up 52 receptions. But to Jeremy's point, a lot of that is flawed stats just because they couldn't do anything offensively. So it's like
Nothing.
Similar to Carolina, where teams are playing them. It's like, listen, we don't have to pass against you. We don't have to do that. We're just going to ground and pound you to death. So like you could see this happening again this week. So I like James Conner this week.
Yep. And to your point, the last 3 opponents for Miami, even with Tua out, Tennessee, New England, Indianapolis, these are 3 kind of zeros in the passing game. Not to take anything away from the coverage there in Miami, I just don't think it's that good. It's as good as advertised, let's say.
Yeah, and Marvin Harrison Jr. gets Jalen Ramsey. That's also concerning this week too, because I know Jalen Ramsey's not a superstar anymore. Still good. So Marvin Harrison Jr. has to like show a little bit more than what we expect. Hopefully they can do it this week. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of just lower on the whole offense.
Agree.
Kyler Murray, they need to use Marvin Harrison a lot more. Marvin Harrison is what I call trusted sidekick to Kyler Murray. He can be something good. Really, Kyler Murray, he needs to become Batman, like me, just flying around everywhere in that backfield, being like I am when I'm chasing crime in Gotham City there. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. can be Robin, right? And every trusted superhero needs their sidekick. Robin needs to show up, and then you need Batman to also do his thing in the backfield, like I do around Gotham City.
Love it. Another great mystery of the universe, gentlemen, the Chicago Bears wide receiving room. We like Cole Kmet this week more than most tight ends, I'd say. We like DeAndre Swift more than some running backs. What the heck are we doing in Chicago with the wide receivers? How do you rank these Chicago wide receivers versus Washington this week? Who do you like?
Fire them up, as Batman would say. Fire them, baby. I'll play all of them if I can. Like I understand the issues with the offense and everything. Cole Kmet has been usage is top 6 in the NFL. I don't really expect that to change because it's #working. So like, why would you shift away from that, right? But yeah, like you want to go DJM. I like Rome a lot this week too. Like I have him inside top 35, and then where is the other guy? I'm blanking on it, so I'm stalling here for a second. Keenan Allen. Like they're all inside the top 40 this week, so I'm fine flexing like Rome and Keenan Allen if you want, because the points should be there. There should be a plenty, and then DeAndre Swift can get there to on top of it too. So yeah, you should fire them all.
I don't know where I have Rome. I agree though. You fire up the wide receivers. To be honest, I believe I have Marvin Harrison Jr. above Rome. But I'm comfortable starting Rome over Marvin Harrison Jr. Just because I think there's some big things that can happen for him. This is a great game for Rome to go out there and ball. DJ Moore, you're firing him up. I have DJ Moore at wide receiver 11. Rome Odunze is going to ball out too. Keenan Allen's great too, but hopefully this is a game where they unlock a little bit more of Rome, because we know he's a trusted talent. To be honest, we just need Jalen Polk. I think Jalen Polk's out, but we just need him to come up. And now we're about to see the wide receivers in Washington just eat. They're going to go out there and get the W's like they were at Washington, gain them out. So there you go. I think you fire up the Washington wide receivers, former Washington wide receivers, that is, when it comes to the Huskies there. And Jalen McMillan and Rome Odunze this week. Fire them both up.
I like it. Gentlemen, we have another paradox in the wide receiver room, and it is Los Angeles. This team wants to be a running team, but they also have to play wide receivers. Lad McConkey, who's injured but will probably play. Quentin Johnston, who probably won't. Simi Fehoko is one of the hottest waiver pickups this week. Josh Palmer. What the heck are we doing here in Los Angeles? Do we want any of these guys? Are we starting Lad? What's happening here in LA?
Yeah, I think if you're starting Semi Fehoko, you are. It's gonna be a rough day for you. So I would avoid that at all costs if you could. I understand why people are forced to doing it, but yeah, it's Lad. He's over 25% target share. He's the one wide receiver that's been consistent. He's just dealing with injury, so you have to be okay with him and the injury uncertainty that comes with him. But he's by far the best wide receiver they have. I know we liked Palmer going into the season. That has not manufactured anything. So yeah, I think I have Lad inside my top 30 wide receivers. Where is he? He's like right in that range, right next to Pearsall. So I'm bullish on both this week. I think Lad's just a really good player. As long as he stays healthy. I know the Saints defense is not the best matchup in the world. They kind of give it up a little bit, so I don't mind it with the malfunctions that have happened in the past few weeks. That Saints defense, like I'm fine throwing Lad. Yeah. I don't think I'm starting another Chargers wide receiver though. That sounds like a lot of problems I don't want to deal with personally.
Yep, and remember, Adebo is out, right? I think is he done for the year, or he's at least out for a while? Who's been playing really well in that New Orleans secondary. So he's out. So we have a little more space, and you tend to be able to pass on New Orleans more than you can run. I think they'll also try to pass funnel this Los Angeles Chargers offense. They should. We know J.K. Dobbins is going to get a healthy steady of touches, but I think Lad McConkey, I agree with you. He's in my top 30 as well. He's wide receiver 29 this week. So yeah, fire up Lad, and Femi can sit on my bench. Femi, Foamy, not gonna start him.
Like,
that's what I'm not gonna do.
Come see me on the bench, my friend.
I'm actually having to start Fehoko over Jaleel McLaughlin this week. Just ruined by some IR guys. So you gotta fire him. And I just like the opportunity that Fehoko may get over McLaughlin. I have an interesting one for y'all. In my flex, do I start Zach Moss? Do I start Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, or Sterling Shepard?
If only I had a time machine, I would go back to the year last year and tell myself not to hype up Calvin Ridley. We would never do this. It would never happen. So close. But who was the one before Sterling Shepard? Because I want to say Sterling Shepard, and I don't want to say
Jerry
Sterling
Jeudy
Shepard.
Or Calvin Ridley.
Sterling Shepard.
Or Zach Moss.
No, it's Sterling Shepard for me by a mile over those guys. I can't do it with anyone else. Zach Moss, I can only play in situations where it's a super positive game script. Look, I don't think this game turns into that for Cincinnati as I struggle to find. Yeah, they're playing Philly, so they might be in catch-up mode as opposed to kind of shut it down mode. So yeah, it's Chase Brown all day for Cincinnati for me. So yeah, give me Sterling Shepard. Hopefully he takes over a majority of the slot and he gets Wan'Dale Robinson numbers for you.
So my concern with Sterling Shepard is we don't know how much he's going to be on the field for them because they're rotating. We know Jalen McMillan's the one guy that's going to be on the field a lot. I don't know how much he's going to play. Where it's Ridley has zero target competition. Nobody. I get it. Will Levis is out this week, so it's Mason Rudolph. But and we've seen this with wide receivers in the past, like DeAndre Hopkins' experience when we had these just no names and it was just backup quarterbacks. They were just feeding him targets. I expect that with Calvin Ridley. The problem is he's freaking going downfield. When we talked about Marvin Harrison Jr. being downfield, this is Calvin Ridley. His average up the target, his catches are like 18 yards. I'm like, can we pump the brakes on this? Like pull this downfield a little bit because he's not a downfield weapon. So yes, overall, I'm just saying I'm starting Calvin Ridley with that group, but it's not a group I'm comfortable starting any of those guys to tell you the truth. Yeah. So I'm just going to ride the experience of Calvin Ridley because Detroit sucks defensively against it. They're giving up over 200 yards receiving, over like 18 receptions per game to the wide receiver position, 23 plus fantasy points per game. I don't know who else is going to catch the ball for like Tennessee this week. I mean, maybe it's one of the tight ends doing a little bit of thing, but their wide receiver room is severely limited right now. It's like, are you doing Tyler Boyd? No, I'm not doing Tyler Boyd. I'm playing Calvin Ridley just a little bit.
What's worse is Calvin Ridley needs to change his name to Mr. Freeze, just simply because he's been frozen. And the past 2 weeks, 17 targets, 3 receptions, just miserable.
It's beautiful.
And when we time travel to try and make Calvin Ridley relevant, we can't, but the DeLorean also gets frozen. So it's just something to keep in mind in the calculations that you have to improve for next time.
Yeah. Can we go back in time and get them a different quarterback? That would be so nice.
Yeah. Can I go back in time and pick a different character for today? I don't know.
I like it, character. I'm enjoying it.
Imagine if they traded for Joe Flacco. Oh, that would be great. Flacco is basically like Albert, my butler, because when he's there, he's serving up the good deals. He's serving food to everybody around. He's making everyone eat. Flacco is Alfred. I said butler. Alfred, Flacco is Alfred here. So I love it.
I had a butler once. My family was very wealthy, but I spent it all on plutonium. We're waiting for more questions. We're answering your start sit questions this week. If you have any, throw them at us in the chat. Otherwise, visit us at fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Otherwise, if you don't want to visit us, you don't have to, but you can visit a game of your choice. Why not see whoever that is? Whoever the starting quarterback of the Michigan Wolverines is this year, or this week, I guess. Go to SeatGeek, drown your sorrows. But did they beat Michigan State yesterday? Michigan?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't know. I was wondering to say. I talked to some Michigan fans. They were not happy mid-game. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
So their offenses. We talk about bad offenses. Woohoo, Michigan. They're right up there with Tennessee. Just bad.
They did win, though, 24-17. So want to go out there and see them. And next week, actually, this will be the time to buy the tickets on SeatGeek on your first time to make the purchase, because next week, Michigan is hosting number 1 seed Oregon. So go out there and see some good Ducks in action. We've seen the Ducks, produce some first-round talent, sell out Bo Nix, who we're starting up this week. Go out there and see who they're going to possibly produce this year. Maybe Dylan Gabriel. We don't know. But go see your Oregon Ducks. And I guess if you're a Michigan fan, go see your Wolverines. Should be a nice matchup, just some exciting football there.
And that's promo code FFUniverse for $20 off your first order. Or if you want to see a worse quarterback than whoever that is, go see this guy. SeatGeek.
Too funny.
We shill for the man as much as possible.
Okay. You do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying?
TJ Hawkinson is out. What are we? Minnesota played. We weren't expecting him, obviously, for this weekend. Are we expecting him for next weekend? And, what are we doing with TJ Hawkinson in terms of when he's healthy and ready to go? Are we just plugging him directly into our lineups?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What's going to happen is, because they just lost their starting offensive tackle, it's going to bring everything. We saw this because Darisaw is one of the best tackles in the NFL. He goes down. This happened to the Giants last week with Andrew Thomas. The offense could not function correctly. The difference is, I think the infrastructure and everything surrounding the play calling, everything's just a little bit better. They have better players. So it's not going to fall apart completely. But this is where Hawkinson comes in. He's going to be the middle of the field guy, the check down guy. That's going to move the chains for them, because you have the 2 guys on the outside doing their thing. Hawkinson, we saw this last year. He absolutely ate in Minnesota. I think he's going to be very much a focal point to kind of just be their easy button and continue to get them moving through the game. So he's not really going to block a lot. I think he's just going to run a ton of routes. They'll probably have Munt stay in a little bit more. They'll probably run a little bit more 12 personnel, do that to kind of help with the offensive line. But yeah, I'm still 100% confident in Hawkinson. I'm firing up, because how many tight ends can you confidently start at 6? It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, Hawkinson, he's going to eat once he gets in the offense there. If anything, it's going to slide down Jordan Addison, because he's going to take some of those targets. Jefferson's still going to be the one. But then when Hawkinson comes back, we may just see irrelevancy from the running backs, really. I mean, if they're just trying to pass it out, Aaron Jones will probably slide down just a little bit there as well. But yeah, Hawkinson, you got to fire him up when he gets in there.
I need to go back in time to 2 days ago and not trade for Aaron Jones just before the Thursday night matchup. Terrible. Top 5 defenses this week. Who do you guys have in your rankings? I will go first while you check it out. Kansas City, number 1 at Vegas. They are in Vegas for sure, but Vegas is a dumpster fire. So is Carolina. So the Denver Broncos are 2 for me. Baltimore Ravens against Jameis Winston for me is 3. Jameis Winston can chuck it, will chuck it, but will chuck it to the other team. The Lions at 4 against Tennessee, and whoever they're throwing out there, quarterback Mason Rudolph most likely. What Levis is out. And the Steelers at 5 against the Giants. Do you guys have the same teams? Anyone else inserted in there in your top 5 for Ds?
I actually have number one Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Giants. I know Giants have some weapons, but that front seven, we saw it. I mean, what do you have? 7 sacks last week, Daniel Jones, something like that. So Pittsburgh is going to go out there and do work. Denver Broncos versus Carolina, my number 2 defense. They're just horrible, and Deontay Johnson's out. Who also we'll talk about possible trade rumors for him. Kansas City at the Vegas, Jets at New England, and then the Chargers versus New Orleans. Wrap out my top 5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's like a clear top 3 or 4 this week. You got the Chiefs going against Vegas, and my goodness, I think the Chiefs were the best defense in the NFL. Going up against quite possibly an offense that can't do much of anything. The Broncos, their defense is already really good. They're clear leaders in pressure rates. They shut people down. Like, you can't really get yards on them. Carolina, good luck this week. The next team is the Chargers at 3. I have Chargers at 3 going against New Orleans because I'm expecting Rattler to start. We saw how the offense disintegrated with Rattler last week. I'm expecting that with the Chargers because that defense is good. Congrats to them when they figured it out. It went from a terrible defensive situation. They bring in Harbaugh, and the whole situation changes. They got good defense pieces there. I'm going Steelers against the Giants because it's a similar situation with the Steelers, right? Like you guys talked about that. And then the last one's the Ravens against Cleveland. I'm a little bit worried about that because I think they can throw it, but I just think the Ravens defense against Jameis Winston, I'm expecting some turnovers, we'll say.
Oh, yeah. Same. I got an interesting one. Got to replace T. Higgins, JSN, or J. McM, Jalen McMillan, or JSN. I want to say JSN. I don't trust it.
Mm-hmm. And Buffalo is what we call a not good matchup for wide receivers. They get gashed against running backs for fantasy points, on the ground through the air. They're pretty good at shutting down wide receivers through the passing game. And JSN has not lived up to expectations. I look at my rankings. I prefer Lockett to JSN this week. Lockett's been the more consistent guy. I have JSN just outside my top 38. I have Jalen McMillan inside my top 30. So I'm well on board with Jalen McMillan. My one concern with McMillan is if they put him on the outside. If they consistently put him on the outside, that's what limits him. But you could put Palmer, he could play X, he could play deep. You can mix J-Mac in the middle, do inside outside stuff with him, and he can have a good game. So I'm a little bit more excited for him because Bryce has been really good, just as Gino's been really good. Baker has been really good. Excuse me. Yeah. So Baker's been really good. I'm expecting him and Jalen McMillan to have a good game together.
Our scientist here gave a great nickname for Jalen McMillan, and that is Jalen McMillion. And I think that's a good name for him because if he fits in that Chris Godwin role, he is going to get you McMillion fantasy points for sure. He's just going to be all around the field there. So I like him. To your point, Jesse, JSN has been underwhelming. DK is out. I do like Lockett a lot more in this matchup. So I think you go Jalen McMillan in that situation.
Yeah. Great, Scott. I'll do it.
It will be tough to see, though, because we need to see it first, right, to see what happens for him. So I think it'll be interesting, though. But Lockett should get some more targets this week, just being a field stretcher for them and DK being out as well.
I've played JSN every week this year. I'm sitting him, and now he's going to go off, as they do in fantasy world.
That's exactly what it is. You know it, too.
What are we doing with Cortland Sutton? Is Cortland Sutton something that's worth a start versus Carolina?
Yes.
They don't need him, though.
I don't know. I would play him over JSN. I'll play Cortland Sutton over JSN.
Yeah.
I get it. He had Lattimore last week. It did not go well. Carolina, they have JC Horn. I get it, but there's just not much they have around there. I think Troy Franklin's probably the better bet if you're going between those wide receivers, just because we've seen Troy Franklin come on, and he's kind of establishing that rapport with Bo Nix because, by the way, they were in college together. They've done that. Troy Franklin looks pretty solid. So I want all the players just for Denver in my lineups this week. Javonte, throw him in. You talked about McLaughlin. We could probably throw him as a flex play too, because this game's likely to get significantly out of hand in the second half. I'll play both those wide receivers. I'm fine this week because there's some injuries where it's like the T. Higgins situation, a couple other guys. Just throw them in there.
So with rankings, and since we talk about that though, there's rumor that teams are contacting the Jaguars for Christian Kirk, and the teams are contacting the Panthers for Deontay Johnson. Would you like to see any of those guys get traded? And if so, what are some top targets for y'all that you would love?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we love to see Deontay Johnson traded pretty much anywhere where he can be at least the second target. I am begging again this week for the Commanders to go get a wide receiver. I don't care who. Ertz has been capable. Ben Sinnott is coming on a little bit if they give him a little bit more routes, but these are not number twos. They need a number two. De'Ami Brown is fine. They need a number two there. I would love to see them go get Deontay, put him in the slot, throw De'Ami out wide or whoever, some sacrificial Y or whatever, because, we can move Terry around. He's going to look good, and then get Deontay in the slot, mix and match. I need somebody over there in Washington stat. I don't care who.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love it. Like his contract is really cheap. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
What's fascinating with Christian Kirk is like he set the wide receiver market a few years ago with his contract. It's not as bad as that anymore, but it's still a significant contract. It's just Deontay's free agent in the offseason. I just think Deontay's the better piece. Like you don't have to kind of structure an offense around him the way you have to do Kirk, where he's like the vertical slot, right? You could put Deontay on the and like Deontay doesn't really play in the slot either. Like that's the other thing. He's more outside. I would love to see him in the slot. I'd be fascinated by that. Yeah. Hey, go get him. Hey, Chargers, go get him. A team that's like needs another piece that's contending. Like go make this move. I think Commanders would be a great call. I would love that for Jake Daniels.
Yeah. We have a question. Great, Scott. We're back to the future questions. The first time that we've had one in a long time. Welcome in, Scott. Good to see you again. Jerry Jeudy or Jalen McMillan? Who do we want to play? I know who I want to play, and his last name does not start with J. Who do you guys want to play?
Go with McMillian there, Scott. I mean, that is the way you want to go. Again, we're talking about Baker needs the weapons. Kate Alden may be the guy. One of the wide receivers is going to do good. We know Baker likes to sling it. He's going to make sure his guys are eating there. Trey Palmer came out and said, he tweeted this earlier, said, this little cold got me pissed the fuck off this morning. He said TF, but I'm assuming it means that. But he said pissed off this morning. So I mean that could be a sign to start him too. I don't know. But Jerry Jeudy, I love it. I just want to see it first. I think it's gonna be night and day between Winston and Watson there. But I don't think this is a matchup where I want to test that theory.
Yeah, well, the community is really bullish on Tillman. And what's interesting is Jerry Jeudy has a higher expected receiving yards, higher expected receptions across the board. Now I get it's Jerry Jeudy, so he's been disappointing. But with all that said, I'm playing Jalen McMillan. I just think Jalen McMillan's the better overall wide receiver. Jeudy has a name cachet, but he's done next to nothing. Excuse my family, something's going on in the background. So somebody will take this from me. So just give me a second.
Well, all we do here is test theories. So let's replace Jerry Jeudy and test this theory with Cedric Tillman. Are you playing Jalen McMillan? Oh, no, sorry. No, let's replace Jerry Jeudy with Cedric Tillman. Let's replace Jalen McMillan with Chris Olave. Do you want to play Chris Olave or Cedric Tillman this week? Because I think that one is kind of nasty.
Yeah. I think you shoot with Tillman. I trust Jameis, man. I trust Jameis. I think I trust him more than I trust Rattler. Or if Carr comes back too, but I think Carr's doubtful. So I think you go with Tillman there. I think he's the higher upside. Olave's gonna get the targets for sure, but with Rattler there, I mean, I just don't know. I think you go Tillman.
Tillman or Olave.
I'm going Olave. I get it. I understand that. I'm not 100% convinced with Tillman. That's my whole issue. It's a great matchup. Baltimore, they're severely limited on the back end. I think we're a little too banking on what just happened last week, or people kind of expecting that to happen again. Yeah. I get it. The first readers were there, but this was also the first game, so I want to see it another week with Tillman. Olave's a really good wide receiver. You look at his PFF grade, it's 90+. He's one of the only wide receivers there for receiving. So I get you. I hear you. It might burn me again. I'll probably be an idiot, but I'm going to love it.
Another really good wide receiver, but a really good aging wide receiver, Tillman or Tyler Lockett, PPR.
Lockett is probably the safer best because we know Gino will pass to him. Again, upside though, Tillman, I think he go. It looks like he's gonna be the one for the offense. I mean, we know Jeudy gets some targets too, but it looks like Tillman is gonna be the guy that is gonna be downfield for them. So that's something where Jameis can thrive. But as Jameis is a good thrower, he also throws a lot of interceptions there. So Lockett is safer. But points per reception, maybe Tillman.
Yeah, it's Lockett. Lockett's the guy like kind of what to expect from, and he's been this guy for a long time. We've kind of announced the death of Tyler Lockett a few years too early, so he's been resurrected from the grave on this Halloween edition, and he's coming back to life. There's no DK Metcalf. He's going to be the number one option in this passing game.
Yeah,
I get it. Buffalo's defense, like you want to run against Buffalo, they still give up some yards, so I get it with Tillman. My whole issue with Tillman is this is year 3 with Tillman. This is like the one outlier game we've had through Tillman's career where he hasn't really done much of anything. So I'm a little worried we're putting the cart in front of the horse with Tillman. So I'm gonna go Lockett. But with all that said, they're back to back in my rankings. I still prefer Lockett though. It's like yeah.
And the other thing to consider is Terrell Bernard is out of this game in the middle of that Buffalo defense. So you'll be able to run even more on Buffalo. They don't have that tier level replacement in Balin Spector, Dorian Williams. I mean, those guys are good, but they're not Terrell Bernard. In the back end for Buffalo has been awesome. DeMar Hamlin, Turan Johnson, those safeties have been great. Beneford and the corners have been holding up and holding their own. This one's really a lot closer than it should be. I will go Tyler Lockett. I want to go Cedric Tillman.
Mm-hmm.
Some say follow your heart. I say use your mind. Young Padawans or whatever. Wrong movie. Good afternoon, Eric. 12 team half PPR start 2. Waddle, DJ Moore, Chubb, McMillan. We got a lot of McMillan this weekend. What are we doing? Are we starting him over these guys? I got to go Waddle and Moore personally.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Batman? First 2?
Yeah. DJ Moore is Batman. Sometimes when I'm not wearing the mask, he is. So you gotta start him. Waddle, Tua's back, right? So
yes.
You're hoping that Waddle's getting that target share. It really comes down to I just like the matchup better for them. Chubb against the Ravens. I know Chubb looked all right last week, but still, don't trust it against the Ravens. McMillan, I need to see that first before I'm starting him over upper echelon wide receivers like Waddle and DJ Moore.
Yeah, agree. And Tua is back. So are you plugging in Tua or Goff or Cousins? Who do you like?
I think I have Goff above Tua.
I think I do too. I need to double check.
I have Goff at 13, and then Cousins at 17, and then Tua at 18. So Goff is my choice here against a Tennessee defense.
I really like Goff this week. Also all these guys are grouped together. It's 14, 15, 16. I have Cousins the leader of the pack because of how I expect that game to go. But you could talk about either one of these guys. I think Tua's a really good play. I think Goff's a really good play. I more think for Detroit in this game, it's not, you don't necessarily need to lead on Jared Goff. I know Tennessee's defense, it shows some metrics that they're pretty good. They're going to get bullied up front. This is by far the best offensive line they've played against. So, we talked about the matchups with Miami and how the offenses haven't been really good. This is a welcome to the league moment for the Titans because you're going up against the best offensive line in the league. It's going to be the David Montgomery, going to be Jahmyr Gibbs show. They're going to bully them.
Yeah, I have Cousins very, very high this week at QB 11, but they're all right there. Goff 14, Tua 16. I want to play Tua. It's just his first game back, so I'm going to go Cousins there personally. Before we answer this question, if you like what you see, maybe not today, but just the information in general, please like and subscribe on our channel, especially on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're at fantasyfootballuniverse.com. You can find us anywhere and everywhere. We do this live show every Sunday before game time to help you with the start-sit decisions. We do a round table on Saturday as well to answer all your questions. So please like and subscribe if you like what you hear. Let's go to bang and play. Should I start Chubb, Flowers, McMillan, or Cedric Tillman in the flex? One of those 4. Who do you like?
Zay Flowers. The whole thing with Zay Flowers is if I don't know if he's playing. That's my one concern.
He is playing. I believe
so he's active. Okay.
I
So I haven't heard anything today because I have been well behind the thing on today. Yes, Zay Flowers. He's by far the best wide receiver. He's really good. I know people want to play Chubb. I do not want to play Chubb this week because Baltimore is atrocious to run against. It's a really bad matchup. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to fade away from Chubb. They've only got up 60 rushing yards on the season to running backs. You need Chubb to do what he did last week where he had 11 for 22 fall in the end zone for a touchdown. Yeah, I would do that. I would go the wide receivers in that order, and I would play Chubb below all of these guys. I'm not doing Nick Chubb today.
Yeah. Zay is in.
Yes.
I would say as a top 12 wide receiver. So Zay Flowers is the answer there.
Yeah, he's dope.
I love it. Spicy as hell. I love that.
it.
Batman bringing the spice.
Beautiful.
Scott, we'll get to your question in a minute. Let's just hit a few more start sits. Need 1 running back and 2 flex. Big list of names. Bucky is playing. So is McConkey. What do we think? Olave is, but Carr is not.
Yeah, it's Carr's not here.
I would go Bucky, Hopkins, Keenan personally in this matchup.
I don't hate that. The fourth one for me would be Ladd. I would consider Ladd over Keenan, but I will definitely go Hopkins and Bucky. I think I'm avoiding Olave with this group of guys.
I'm still playing Olave. I'm willing to trust the talent of Chris Olave. I get it with Spencer if it's Spencer Rattler, but he didn't have Olave last game. How this game's going to go, they don't have Rashid Shaheed, right? What's going to happen is these targets are going to freaking just be. It's going to be like a honing missile on Chris Olave, all the targets. Now this gets into the bad quarterback play where it's inexperienced, all the fun stuff. This is a long-winded way of saying I'm playing the first 2 wide receivers. I'm playing Olave. I'm playing Hopkins. I know it's a new team and all that fun stuff. I don't care.
Touchdown.
I want it. Like the Vegas Raiders are not good defensively. Patrick Mahomes, do it for us one time. I just want one time. Can we get 1 top 12 performance? That's it. That's
no, you can't. No soup for you.
Yeah, Bucky worries me in this matchup, but I'm probably gonna play. I have Bucky ranked above Ramondre. I'm worried about Ramondre, even though I expect Ramondre to get more volume in this game. Like I expect to have more volume. I just don't expect him to be efficient. So I'm gonna go Ramondre. I'm gonna go.
We're all playing Hopkins. We're all playing Bucky. Take your pick on the wide receivers between Olave, Keenan. It seems like some of us like Olave, some of us like Keenan. Good matchup. So do what you like there. Tank or Terry. Who's Washington playing? Oh, but no. Wait, Jaden Daniels isn't ruled out officially yet.
Yes, I would say use that as your metric. So my whole concern with Bigsby is he's the most game script dependent running back in the NFL. If they get into passing situations, he comes off the field. I know this game is the highest projected shootout and points for Bigsby. You could play him if you think but if the scenario happens where Jacksonville gets behind in this game, Bigsby's not going to be on the field. And that's terrifying for Bigsby because they're going to get Green Bay. So if Jaden Daniels is playing, I'm playing Terry McLaurin. If he's not playing, I'll go to Bigsby just because I don't want to do the freaking Marcus Mariota thing. Like that just sounds awful.
And on that note, they say right about now, 12:45 is when we expect word that for the Commanders to confirm whether or not Daniels will play. So keep Googling and refreshing to see if Daniels is playing. If Daniels is playing, I am firing up Terry. Agree. If not, it's Tank. SCU in agreement.
If if Daniels is playing, but to lead on that, I do like Bigsby because ETN is out, so Bigsby will get majority of that too. Yep. So he's going to be the workhorse there for him. But with that, fire up BTJ, as BTJ is him. But with that, Daniel Jones or Mariota if Mariota starts.
With that proclamation, we go to Scott Kobe, Christian Watson or Tucker Kraft, flex PPR, tight end premium. Who do you like? The Green Bay Packers.
TEP, baby. We ride with Kraft.
Okay. Yep. That was an easy one. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you were talking about Mariota or Daniel Jones, Jesse. I'm doing Daniel Jones over Mariota against the Chicago defense, which is one of the better defenses in the NFL. I don't think people realize how good Chicago's defense is. Mariota can get there on the ground. The crazy thing about last week is he came in as a backup, took over, had over 20 points in the game against the Carolina Panthers. That's how bad their defense is. So this is why we're all bullish on Bo Nix. I don't want to do Mariota against the Chicago defense. That sounds I don't want to do that. No, thank you.
Fair.
Scott hit us with another one. Tampa pass catchers. We talked about them, but let's talk about separately, but let's talk about them together. How do you rank them this week? McMillan, Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer, and who cares? Maybe Cade Otton. We'll throw Cade Otton in there. How about those 4 guys? Who do you rank where?
How do you have them, Messi? Or excuse me, Batman?
I think Cade Otton is top one just because he's the one that's been in the offense. Palmer has 2, but Otton just more reliable. You're gonna see him on the field a lot more. But then I Jalen McMillan, man. If what we're seeing goes correct, Jalen McMillan will step right into that Chris Godwin role. As y'all know, that's a Batman role, just feasting off the slot there. You'd love to see that. He's gonna be flying around the field everywhere like I fly around Gotham. And then you have Trey Palmer and Sterling Shepard. I do like it, but I think Palmer, the young guy, guys. I think they're going to try to get some more reps for them just to go out there and do it. Palmer will be good, but I think Palmer, you're just hoping for a touchdown, or excuse me, Shepard, you're hoping for a touchdown. Where McMillan and Palmer, you're going to see a lot more targets go their way.
Yeah, if those are people that want to know how their usage has gone early in the season, McMillan's been the guy that's been on the field most. He also was coming off the field early in the season due to an injury. So people were thinking Shepard was taking the job for him. What happens is McMillan was just dealing with an injury. So since he's been healthy, McMillan's been the guy in that offense. They've raved about McMillan. They gave him a freaking like sweep on 4th and 2 last against the Ravens. Like it was pretty wild to watch. They trusted him in that situation. So I think he's clearly the guy. But yeah, K-Dot and Jalen McMillan, clear too. The Shepard and Trey Palmer thing's interesting. Palmer's the guy if you want a deep shot, you want to take that. I just don't know how much Shepard's going to play. And that's what worries me a little bit. I have Shepard above Palmer, but you could talk yourself into Palmer for sure.
I like Shepard in this matchup just for this week alone. I think he's just the guy who's a little more trustworthy. Jalen McMillan, we're just not sure how healthy he is. Jalen McMillan's been dealing with injury for at least 2 years now. So I know there's a lot going on with him in that status, and he's a rookie. I'm just trusting the vet and the shower, locker room, roommate connection with Baker Mayfield. I'll trust that narrative in the first game without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So I understand feeling the trepidation there, but have no fear. We will come back in time next week, and we will be celebrating the name Sterling Shepard as like a wide receiver 24. Let's see. Any final thoughts here? We have about 10 minutes until games kick off here. We appreciate you, Mobius. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. We don't always wear silly costumes. Maybe we should do it more, but we always give or try to give the A+ info. So thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe. It helps us a ton, and we appreciate you and your questions.
I'm just waiting to see what's happening with Jaden McDaniels. Daniels.
Nothing yet.
This could be like a game time decision where they're going to be like, he is out.
Yeah,
well,
are
they
all right?
early game?
Tweeted he's starting. They said Jane Daniels is playing. So
no,
there's your answer. If you
fire him up,
fire up everybody. I get it. It's Chicago. It should be a really fun game. I'll say that. But yeah, you play him.
Oh, I need to move him up my rankings. Where is he?
Oh yeah, good call.
Jaden Daniels, 29. No.
Oh,
look,
boy.
The Chicago. All right. So
Yes.
Jaden Daniels is at home. The Chicago secondary is not to be trifled with, except they were missing like 5 guys last week. I don't know the status of all of their injuries, but I do know Jalen Johnson, who is like the best corner on that team by far, has been relatively injury-free. It makes me a little bit concerned for Terry, but they move them all around the formation. I think Jaden Daniels is probably healthy enough to run around as like an average rushing quarterback. So that gives me a little bit of security in his floor. So I'll move him up to, let's say, quarterback 18 for now. But I'm just a little concerned with the injury that he doesn't hit that ceiling, especially because you can run on Chicago because you have to, because it's very difficult to pass on them.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. The one that we got in the chat, Jaden or Bo Nix. I want to play Bo Nix, but Jane Daniels has been incredible. And I get it. We've kind of been discounting him against some of these, like, we're like, oh, he's got to play a really good team. He's shown it basically the entire season. He's been one of the better quarterbacks I've ever saw. I'm still playing Jane Daniels. Like, it's just hard for me to do Bo Nix above him. Like, I get it, though. Like, if you want to go Bo Nix, you can do everything setting up for him. I just think Jane Daniels is a really good quarterback in a really good situation. So I'm going to play him.
Yeah. I like the floor for Bo Nix, ceiling for Daniels.
Yeah, exactly. The injury is just, the thing is, with your lineup, can you afford, if Jaden Daniels gets hurt or re-aggravates his injury, can you afford to have less than 10 from him? If your lineup is strong, play him because he has the upside. If you can't, there you go. I'm still leaning Nix to Hill to health. I think Nix is the safer bet because he doesn't have that injury, especially with the rushing quarterback. We know, Chicago's going to go after it. So that's where you got to lean there for it. Nix is safer. Daniels, like Jesse said, upside.
Yeah. To Scott's point, great, Scott. Scott has been great. We appreciate you, Scott. But to Scott's point, Ertz, how high do you have him this week?
Uncomfortably high. it's one of those what it is with Zach Ertz, right? He's this very old, like dusty, like he still finds ways to get targets. he's borderline top 10 guy for me this week. I get it. The matchup's not there, but
Yeah.
this is where we get the problem with tight end. I want guy I know is gonna be on the field running routes. I know that's Zach Ertz. He's got Jaden Daniels, so like we're good. We got Jaden Daniels. We got to worry about that. Yeah, it's so we just fire him. It's one of the few guys that you can trust to play his role. You know what it's going to be. Like he just catches, he gets 5 receptions a game, 50 yards. You just make it.
Yeah,
I have Ertz as 16. I do have him above Andrews though, so I do like that.
I have Ertz at 19. It's probably too low, but there's no chance Ertz is hitting 88 miles per hour
No,
on the speedometer these days.
44.
I need speed against that Chicago defense. So for me, yeah, if he catches 5, I don't think it's 5 for 50. It's probably 5 for 30. And, unless he scores, he's not going to do much. So for me, I'm a little down on Ertz today, but Jaden Daniels in the lineup does help.
But to all our tight ends, shout out National Tight End Day. It is National Tight End Day. So maybe this is a time where you just, all your flexes, start your tight ends, just do it. It's National Tight End Day. They're all going to
George
eat.
Kittle, baby, National Tight End Day. It's not a better setup for anybody. You know he's going to
There you go. Just kidding too. Don't just start your tight ends just because it's National Tight End Day. Unless you have to.
It's been ugly for tight end.
Yes. And by start all the tight ends, I mean the good tight ends. David Njoku, tight end 1. That's what I'm talking about. Let's ride.
Start like 4 tight ends. That's about it. National Tight End Day.
I will say, I think Sam Laporta gets a boost back without Jameson Williams. I think he can be a little bit more involved this week. So we get the revitalence of Sam Laporta back in our lives today.
Yeah. My issue with that is they play Tennessee. Tennessee is really good up front. I mean, they have a bunch of great pieces that haven't totally come together, but they're still pretty solid on defense. The one thing to watch out for is they just traded Ernest Jones away to Jesse's Seattle Seahawks this week. And they traded him for whoever the other guy was, Jerome Baker.
It's like Baker plus a 4th, I think was the deal. Yeah.
Baker is good, but Baker is not the young stud linebacker Ernest Jones. So he's not what he was supposed to be. He's not who we thought he was. And does he plug right into Tennessee in week 1? I don't know. Not really a coverage guy anyway, but we'll see how that works out. You could fire up Laporta and pray. He's my tight end 16.
I like it. Like I don't think he's gonna be fully back where he's getting 10 targets, but I think he will get at least more than 2. Like he can get 5. Touchdown, like that type of stuff. So I like him that way.
Yeah.
5 minutes left to ask your start sit questions before the first round of games kicks off. So make sure you're getting them in here for us. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe because we go live every Sunday, an hour and a half before kickoff.
Great Scott asks Daniels or Goff.
Same situation with I think Daniels has the same upside, but Goff is the safer bet. So Goff, we know, I mean, even with Jameson Williams gone, he still has Sam Laporta, still has arguably the best running backfield in the league. So Goff is safer, but if you want that high upside, Daniels.
Yeah, that's where I go, and I'm a very risky manager. I dive into it, so I'm gonna play Jay Daniels and accept the possibility of him just like injuring himself or coming out. But with Goff, like it's very much he needs 3+ touchdowns to be that high end quarterback in each week because he does not scramble at all. So that's kind of what we're worried about. Goff, he's a high floor play. Yeah. If you need the ceiling, go with Daniels. But yeah, if you're worried, just play Goff. It's fine. Like he's a fine place.
And look, we all love Jared Goff, but I think we all love even more Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you want to go see him live in person, you're in the Detroit area or Detroit Lions are coming to you. You can go to SeatGeek and use promo code FFUniverse for $20 off your first order. Or, you can just pay full price. Don't do that. By my calculations, $20 off is better than paying full price. Please make sure you pay full price. And with that, we have 3 minutes left. Last questions, put them in. We will try to help you. Otherwise, guys, how you feeling about today? How about maybe one sleeper who you like more than the rest this weekend in this slate?
The guy who stole my heart in draft season, pretty Ricky Pearsall, baby. We are riding Ricky Pearsall. Like my whole thought process with Pearsall is he's going to be on the field a lot in this game. And Dallas's defense, like they're not going to be able to generate any pass rush against Brock Purdy. He's going to stay in the pocket. Pearsall is the one guy who consistently will win against man coverage. They don't really have that right now in San Francisco. That's Pearsall without Brandon Ayuk. So I'm expecting Pearsall to have a very good game. He's going to be involved. Obviously, it's George Kittle. Deebo Samuel is a top 5 wide receiver for me, but I really like Pearsall on this. He's a top 27 wide receiver for me. Like I'm riding Ricky Pearsall.
I have to go
Batman.
with you have Jalen McMillan. I think people are gonna sleep on Baker. They're like, he lost his top two guys. They're still gonna go out there and eat. Baker is doing his Gus Swayze things. He's doing some fantastic things right now, and he's gonna make these wide receivers relevant. Again, why he loves Tampa, he's just having some fun. And that's what you gotta do when you're playing a good game like the professional football in the NFL. You go out there and have fun, and Baker Mayfield will continue to have fun.
And there's no sleep for the weary when you're inventing fantasy points and yardage and you're trying to come up with 1.21 gigawatts of power like Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert is going to go off. Achan, I still have ranked higher. He still will have his. I think you fire up every Miami Dolphins player that you have this week. Tua is the only guy who I'm not sure gets there, depending on who your other options are. I like Waddle in the flex. Tyreek can always be the wide receiver one, and both of these running backs should be able to do well, especially if they get in the end zone. 21 touchdowns, 1.21 gigawatts of touchdowns for Raheem Mostert last season. Can I get like one? Can I get one this week? I think so.
Yeah, I think you can. I like it. We're riding with it.
Like
That's it. So I think that's it. We're about to watch 7 hours of commercial-free football, so let's sign off. We are going to do it for SC, a.k.a. Batman, a.k.a. Rashad Bateman season. We're going to do it for Jesse J. Moeller at jmoeller05, and for myself, Jeremy. I need to remember how to sign off properly. I think I found the button. We will see you next time. Enjoy Halloween. Enjoy the game.